You are live. It's
Hello, everyone.
Monday Night
Hello.
Live.
Hello from Portland, Oregon.
Hello from Fredericksburg, Virginia. And we have Bad is Rad in
Hey, Rad.
the show. And I think she's the only. No, we've got 6 people in the chat, so there may be more people in the chat.
Okay, you don't mind if I smoke, do you?
I don't mind.
Okay, good. Well, Greg and I already
hello from
cheers
Central
and toasted each
Florida.
other.
Hello.
I almost went to grad school in Gainesville. I was accepted, and I went down there and toured back in the late 80s, and I met Harry Cruz and Paget Powell was there, some other people. And it's a beautiful campus in Gainesville down there. And I still kind of root for the Gators. I have a couple of T-shirts.
Hello, Kyle Johnson. Yeah, I spent a summer in my 20s in Orlando, Florida.
What city? I have relatives in Daytona Beach. I love Florida.
It was Orlando.
Oh, you kind of broke up there, Greg.
Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but
Garth is here.
Hey, Gareth is here. Yeah, I had a great Christmas and laid back. I asked the wife and kids what they wanted to eat yesterday, watching the basketball games, and we all agreed on chili dogs. So, but I'm cooking a brisket tonight. I already told Greg about it. It's on pause now, but you got to cook that thing I'm cooking mine for like 7-8 hours, low and slow. But maybe we should get into some books.
Maybe we should. I'm just trying to catch up with the comments. Grape Jelly Library. Thanks. Hello, gentlemen. Hello, Grape Jelly Library.
Hi, Flo.
Flo, that's right. Flo.
Yeah. Man, I love her library. It's really impressive.
It is.
I like that. I wish I had a room, and Rad has a room too, like that library. So does Pax. Let's say MJ's name 3 times, so she'll appear.
You have to go to the mirror and go, MJ, 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 MJ.
She'll appear.
She'll appear.
She won't.
Maybe. Okay. So I've got a bunch of books to talk about this year.
What's your first one?
Oh my Lord! Look, wait, guess who showed up? MJ. We just said your name 5 times.
3.
It's 5.
Hey, MJ.
Hey there. Tangible Weeds showed up. This is good. Okay, so I have a list of roughly 17 favorite books. Some I can show, some are audio books, some are digital books that I can't show, but
what's your first one?
Okay, for the first one at 17 is the Oxbow incident by I never get his name, Walter Van Tilburg Clark. Have you read this one?
No, I haven't. I've never heard of him.
No, this was done for June on the Range. It's more of a literary western, and it is the story of a lynching and the consequences of a lynching. And it's actually a very powerful story about how people can be riled up to commit a lynching, and then what people feel about lynching afterwards.
Fuck.
And there's a scene. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a scene at the end.
I can see how it ends.
Well, you know it's about a lynching, and you know they're lynching the wrong guys.
Yeah, it's like the Bible. The main character dies in the end. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yep. Okay, so that was
I'm kind of going. That sounds like a trippy book, Greg. I mean, Courtney and I are buddy reading a Marlon James. We're in January, and I started on it a little soon, wee bit soon, but it's about a slave. It's about a group of women, and it's a in-depth story. Slavery in Jamaica. You know, he writes everything in Jamaica and that. But I want to bring you back to earlier this year, Greg, when we read J.R.
Oh, you know something, Alan, that may be showing up a little bit later in my queue.
Okay, well,
we should know. We can talk about it right now because it's a very unique book. It has no chapter breaks, and all the dialogue is essentially unattributed. So you have to take the dialogue from the context, and it's
exactly
about 95% dialogue.
Oh yeah, and he uses the Spanish. I think Don Quixote. You know, Cervantes invented it, and Joyce uses it too, where there's no quotation marks.
It's just a dash.
Yeah, and but not only that, J.R. incorporates a lot of different fonts and text and drawings because it's told from a adolescent's point of view. It's crazy.
Well, part of it's told from an adolescent's point of view. Not all of it, but
and it's about money, folks.
It's about money.
Hell yeah. But this is a good buddy read. Did we read this as a group or just you and I?
It was just you and me.
Okay, and the next one's going to be with
Sean at least.
And Mark too. I forget. I do so
I'm going to put it out, but yeah, this is one of the most difficult books you'll ever read, but it is well worth it. And just one of my favorite scenes is towards the end. It's not a spoiler where JR has been doing some financial shenanigans, and he's accumulated a paper empire technically worth millions of dollars, but it's in debt for like 3 times the amount that it's worth.
I like the way he's
11 years old.
Yeah, he's 11 years old. I like the way he delegates everybody.
Yeah. And one of the funniest scenes is he goes to his teacher and goes, "What is a subpoena?"
Yeah.
I got this letter. I don't know what it means.
Yeah. So, yeah, great book. And then we're reading the Recognitions and Marching Mammoths.
Yes.
All right. Because I have a lot of books to get to, too. So let's go through them.
All right. I have a lot too. I'm trying to keep up with all the comments as well. Okay. After that is a book that you know, Mother Night by Kurt Vonnegut.
Oh yeah, that it's on my shelf. It's a thin volume, but it's an offshoot like Vonnegut will do. It's just an independent book on its own. I think like Slaughterhouse-Five is kind of independent too, although he has Kilroy Trout. But Mother Night, even the movie with Nick Nolte, is excellent.
I have not seen the movie. I mean, I like to keep books and movies separated. So if I read the book, I just don't like to watch the movie afterwards. But
thank me later, Nick Nolte. If you like him, especially, he does an excellent job in this.
I can see him because this is the story of a man who's living in Germany pre-World War II as an American, and then he is basically recruited by U.S. spy services to rat out the Nazis as a propagandist. So in the United States, he's known as a propagandist for the Nazis, but he's really a spy for the US, but no one knows he's a spy. And then he gets put on war crime trials as a propagandist. So it's really one of Vonnegut's best books. And I just love it.
It really is. Now, do you remember the catchphrase?
The catchphrase, I don't remember the catchphrase. I'm going to read the first sentence because it's a great first sentence of a book.
Okay.
Let's see if I can get that first sentence going.
Unless I beat you to it.
If you beat me to it, read it.
No, go ahead.
All right.
It's not really a catchphrase, but
No, just not this one.
Be careful what you pretend to be, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I remember. It's be careful what you pretend to be, lest you become that.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste too much time going because I got a lot of books to go over.
Me too. Chapter 1, my name is Howard W. Campbell Jr. I am American by birth, a Nazi by reputation, and a nationless person by inclination. A Nazi
Not the
by reputation.
I was going for, but okay. So what's your next one?
Another buddy read. Do you realize, Greg, we read 2 Cabran novels?
Was it in the same year?
I think so, because we read. It came up on my Goodreads.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought Cavalier and Clay was 21, but maybe.
Yeah, so Michael Cabran doesn't get enough mention, comments, videos on BookTube. I don't think
he doesn't. He both of these books were superb, but they're both very different from each other.
Oh yeah. The second one we did was the Yiddish Policemen's Union. So,
and that's sort of a science fiction police thriller,
crime fiction, yeah, fantasy, sci-fi, just totally different from this, which is comic books. And I just love this book. If I had to pick between the two, I'd pick this one. But not only for the comic books and then the Nazi stuff and Hitler, and the ending was so satisfying to me. And we'll not spoil the ending, but it's a friendship and romance, and yeah, you can't beat that book.
No, and we're going to do his a novella this year or next year with Mark
at Book Time with Elvis. That's the Final Solution.
The Final Solution. Yeah, it's just a novella. It's like 100 pages, maybe 150 pages.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Good evening, Stephanie.
Oh, Miss Cohen is here. We were just talking about Gibran, and Stephanie had commented on a video I made. Stephanie's our Vonnegut reading partner.
Yeah.
But she would love these. Yeah, either one, but they're so different. You'd have to pick and choose. But yeah, The Final Solution, or as Mark likes to refer to it, the Parrot book.
The parrot, because it has a parrot on the cover.
Yeah. So, hey, Stephanie. Glad to see you. We already talked about Vonnegut a bit, but the next Vonnegut we're reading is what?
Player Piano.
Okay. And
we're probably going to do it in February because March is March of the Mammoths.
And we're doing the recognition, so.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephanie, we just got done talking about Mother Night and.
Bad has to go. Goodbye.
Okay. Later, Rad.
I'm glad you stopped by.
I'm gonna get your first name one of these days. I've never asked her, but I will. I'm gonna ask her.
Okay. Then I have 2 books that I read in Garbogast that I liked. One I
And
can
they
show
are,
you is The Rats by James Herbert,
yeah,
and the
that's his
other one
first
is The
one.
Slugs by um, Sean Hudson. Oh, Bad responded. Her name is Jessica. Hello,
Oh, okay.
Jessica. I'm glad to officially meet you.
Yeah, thanks, Red. I still call her Red. Yeah, I like her channel a lot.
Her videos are amazingly creative, and they put me to shame sometimes. Thinking I just get in front of the camera and talk, and she put some
Yeah,
real thought.
I know. I turn my light on, and I'll put up little decorations, and I'll change my posters around. But
Oh,
okay, Jessica,
Darius read The
that's cool.
Rats
Thank
for
you.
Garbagas too, and I liked it. My first James Herbert, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, this is about killer rats in London, and The Slugs was about killer slugs in London. Ridiculous. I mean, slugs really aren't carnivorous, but
No,
it,
no.
it's a wild, funny book, and it's just so over the top gory. The slugs
Now,
and the rats
yeah,
is a little gory, but not as gory as the slugs. And I mean, there really truly are good examples of trashy books that
you enjoy it. I
I
mean, I've
enjoy.
heard great things about James Herbert. I wouldn't. That was his first novel, I
It
believe,
was his
right?
first novel.
Yeah. So, like I brought up in Ali's live stream, Dean Koontz. I mean, he's good. I compare Stephen King to the Beatles and Dean Koontz to the Rolling Stones. 'Cause
Jessica wants to do Garb August.
yeah, I'll be doing it as well.
You're gonna do the Garb August this year as well.
Oh yeah, I'll do it along with Faulkner and August. Shit, August.
I did
Hashtag Faulkner
Faulkner
and
and
August.
Garb August, so
Yeah, let me promote my Faulkner in August. It'll be our 5th year, and we're doing Absalom. Absalom.
okay. So what do you got after that?
I got major classic that I want to reread soon is Don Quixote. This was a group read. Roz at Scaladanling about the books mailed me this book, uh, along with a few others for a present. She's a friend of mine in Brighton, England, Sussex, actually. But man, you've read this, right?
I have not read Don Quixote. Hang my head
This is a
in
book like
shame.
Ulysses. Yeah, it's a book like Ulysses. You got to keep going back to it. Now I want to. So that's about all I have to say about it, unless we have some commenters. But just laugh out loud funny. I just did a video about my 6 favorite humorous books, and I forgot about Don Quixote. I mean, it's fall down funny.
Oh, Jessica saying I do, but I need help which books to pick. This is all about just the books you read for yourself, and you don't want to let other people shame you into not reading these books. Like The Rats. A lot of people go, why would you read The Rats when you could read something more valuable like Kurt Vonnegut? And the idea is to read both. So Jessica, just pick whatever type of trashy book that you like.
For Garba, yeah.
For Garbagas.
Mm-hmm.
There are no bad books for Garbagas.
Well, I'm going to go to Paul's bookstore, Greg, and look through the not the Rats, but the Pillars. Remember the books you got there when you were in town?
Oh, the Pulps, yeah.
Yeah, the pulp books. Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
Shit, I might even mail you one if I find something good.
Okay, so whose turn is it? You just held up Don Quixote, so I will hold up. I read this earlier this year. What might be my favorite novel of all time, Albert Camus' The Stranger.
Wow, I think my mother died the other day. I think it was 2 days ago.
Close enough, but yeah, this book I read when I was a sophomore in university, and it just the perfect book for someone that young, just getting into literature.
Let me show you something. I think it's in here. Where the heck is it?
Oh, Bad is saying I got plenty of bad books that are very trashy. Some I don't mention. Well, you know, when you get around to Garb August, you can mention them and not feel ashamed. So yeah, this is sort of a book that has the existential absurd, you know, existential absurdism philosophy, and I just found it so engaging for my young mind at the time, and I've always gone back to it and read it like every 10 years or so, and I always enjoy revisiting this book. And
I'm looking. Ross sent me a postcard of Albert Camus smoking, and that's what I'm looking for. I just had it the other day, but I use it as a bookmark. But
Al Ohm said, "I read Stranger in a Strange Land." I can't say I like that. That was Robert A. Heinlein. That was sort of a freaky deaky hippie science fiction novel. I liked it when I read it, but that was in my 20s. I don't know if what I think about it now that I'm in my late 50s.
You know what is a great book? And you'll probably agree, I have two different translations of it, but we group read The Magic Mountain this year.
We did. You're gonna see that on my list too.
Yeah, man. And then I have I have this guy's translation that the Porter, the Lowell Porter.
That's the older translation.
Right. But I read the newest one.
John Woods.
Yeah, man.
That's the one.
Killer. This novel blew me away.
It is my favorite novel that wasn't a reread this year. And it is just so dense and so amazing that one mind could encompass this much information and knowledge and put it down on paper in ways that's nothing's happening, amazing. But everything is happening at the same time. And I just found it completely captivating.
And there's so many different psychiatric ways you can go with this novel. It's not a spoiler to say it takes place in a sanitarium.
No, you learned that the first chapter.
And I can kind of compare it to Dennis Lehaney's Shutter Island, only this is much better, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
along with Don Quixote, you have to reread The Magic Mountain someday.
Yeah, I know Steve Donahue thinks this is one of the greatest novels ever written. And it can also be very moving at times. The very last pages, it was like people, I was just stunned. It's like you're expecting a novel that goes on for, what was it, 680 some odd pages of just sort of philosophical meanderings. And then it's not a huge spoiler because it's coming from the beginning. World War I hits. And you learn about what the characters have to go, what happens in World War I. And that was just...
And you get to know the characters too, and you feel for them a lot.
You absolutely feel for them.
Yeah, and it's tragic. All right, well, see, we're kind of going out of turn because I show one and then, you say, I had that on my list, Alan. So go now.
Let's try to catch up on a couple of the comments before we go ahead. Okay. Al Orm, I did enjoy the Marquis de Sade. Pretty trashy. Yeah, Marquis de Sade, I think elevates trash to a whole different level.
I wouldn't know.
100 Days of Sodom. If you watched Ollie's channel, he just read that. He
Wow.
describes what they do, and
I thought they were going to say Solitude.
yeah, the idea trends the work itself to see ourselves from an outsider's perspective. Jessica's going, is it me or like after I read a book dead inside, I always look for a book that is much more worst? I feel like I always step into something far worse in subjects.
IDK.
I don't know.
There's always something worse, isn't there? You can go from worse to worse.
Well, the Marquis, I think she's maybe talking about the Marquis de Sade, that his work is a very different type of trashy work than something like The Rats. The Rats is just goofy, gory fun.
I just know you're right. As far as I know, Marquis, he was into like masochism, right? So that's not my forte. So
yeah, and let's head to Ollie's Discord channel to see what people like to do in those chapters, and it's like, maybe not for me.
Yeah.
MJ noticed that I have lots of and I don't write in this book because this is actually a very beautiful edition of this book. So I would never write in it, but I put tons of annotations in this book. And we'll see if I ever reread it in a couple of years, what I think of my annotations.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Also, everything takes place in a sanitarium.
This was a reread for me this year. We'll say Codex Cantina. Una says Clarice. He's researched it. So Clarice Lispector. And this is a reread.
MJ was going trashy or just gross for Marquis de Sade. I think gross is probably pretty close.
I can put him on my writers I'm not going to read.
You should go get a book from the library and try a couple chapters.
Maybe I will.
Just to say that you sampled him.
I prefer Finnegan's Wake, but let's talk about Clarice Lispector.
Oh, yes. That.
Now, I've never heard you talk about her, Greg.
I have read that book. I've read it, must be over 10 years now, so the details are a little foggy.
Right, but you know the gist of it.
I know. I know the infamous scene.
Yeah, the cockroach. Yeah. So, but I enjoy Lispector. We have a boxer group on that. Raz and Una at Codex Cantina, and Fraser Simons. I think he's been kind of inactive on BookTube lately, so I don't know what's up with that. But a few others. That's why I hate mentioning names. I always leave people out.
I understand. All right. Is it my turn to hold up another one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. The postman always get that out. The Postman Always Rings Twice by James M. Cain. This is an early crime novel about a drifter goes into California and walks into a diner one day and falls in love with the beautiful married woman running the counter. Mm-hmm. And of course, the married woman falls for this drifter, and they think the best thing that they can do is murder her husband.
Exactly.
But it's
Now,
it's a good crime novel.
okay, but I'm going to bring up another point here, Greg. You've never seen the film of this.
I have not.
It's great. Jack Nicholson and Jessica Tandy. It's a great film, man. So that's my second homework assignment for you tonight.
Watch a lot of film. There's an older version of it too.
Oh, there is?
Yep.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I like learning new things. That's why I'm on BookTube.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Jessica, in general, all books. I really love trashy books. Jessica, you're gonna love Garbogust. I can just
Don't
imagine.
forget Faulkner in August. Don't forget Faulkner in August.
Don't forget Faulkner in August, but whenever
Fuck Faulkner.
you know, every time when I did Garbogust and I did my videos, I held a toilet plunger in my hand.
Yeah, I was too busy last August. We had the summer of snows, like June, July, and August. And I'm going to bring up some poetry. I have a playlist on Mr. John Berryman.
Oh, John Berryman. We were reading that whole book with Mr. Bones.
Yes, Mr. Bones and Vietnam War and Yeats, W.B. Yeats is in this, in Ireland, and you know the '60s and all that. But I'm a big John Berryman fan ever since in grad school. My mentor, Norman Doobie, the Norton poet. Look up Norman Doobie. He's a great poet. He's still alive. But he personally walked me through this book. This is like my third, fourth copy. I don't know how many times I've read it, but I'd like to give it. You know, he made up his own rhyme scheme. He was very prolific, part of the confessionary school of poets, along with Sylvia Plath, Anne Sexton, Robert Lowe, others. So.
Okay, let's catch up with some comments here. We got Medium John Silver talking about how Postman Always Rings Twice is really good.
Yes.
MJ loved reading that book past summer. Al, wasn't that a movie with Jack Nicholson? Yep, we just mentioned that, or Alan just mentioned that.
And Jessica Tandy as the waitress.
Yeah. Jessica, laugh out loud, murder the husband. That'll fix that. Yeah, well, let's just say that it makes
that's one solution.
Well, it's a book you just have to experience. Jessica Lange. It's not Jessica Tandy. Yeah.
Oh, did I say Tandy? Yeah, she.
You said it. I think you said it right the first time.
Yeah, well, it's the eggnog, you know.
Yeah, well, I got my Modella. Al driving the postman, didn't see it. Holy Blood, Holy Grail, My Trashy Past. You know, people I think are going to be reading Echo's Folcott's Pendulum in February.
Right.
And that book,
Jason.
It would be a good reference book to read before reading Folcott's Pendulum.
What book would be?
Holy Blood, Holy Grail. I don't remember the author, but it is.
Is it about Jewish mysticism or the Sephiroths?
I believe it has to do more with the Templar Knights.
Okay.
Which feature very heavily in Folcott's Pendulum.
Yeah, because Jason Harrigan's a friend of mine, you know, and we correspond. He's on sabbatical, I guess you'd call it, right now. But he sent me a Christmas card and a hello. I'm waiting on a package from let's say Jason's name 3 times.
So Medium John Silver, I read A Honey West Mystery for Garb August. It fit. I don't think I know that one particularly. Reading This Life. Screw August. Garbuary. Yeah, I'm trying to get Ollie to do Garbuary, but he doesn't seem to want to do that. He's thinking of doing a weekend of trash books in February.
Yeah, we were all on his live stream. That was really cool. He had like 100 people on the live stream.
He did. That was an amazing amount of people on the live stream.
I know.
So we've got 15. That's for us. That's pretty good.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, hell yeah.
15. Jessica wants to vote. MJ. Well, I vote for Garbuary. We can just do a Garbuary and Ollie can join or not.
January and February are like my catch up days, and then I hit March because I do Joyce in March too, and I mean there's a lot of events. We don't even Folk Up's Pendulum. That's going to be a trip. I already have, which means all of Umberto Eco, and I've got a couple books from the Portland Library sale, but I don't have my Rose, and I don't have my Folk Up's Pendulum. They're in a effing box in Phoenix,
No, go to the library. They have it.
Yeah, I'll get it from there or something. But I can't mark it up like I do.
I'll go. Oh, I'm sure Powell's will have it.
True.
All right. If only we could keep the spirit of Garb August in all our hearts all year long, said Tim. Yeah.
I don't read too much garbage because this has come up in others' videos too. I usually read what's recommended to me, or I'm buddy reading something that I know I'm gonna like. So I rarely DNF a book, but yep. I did a few times this year. I can't remember what they were. I think a fantasy book by Craig called Babel, and I DNF'd another book. Doesn't mean I won't go back to it, but
Yep. Gareth was going. August is full of events. Haha. I tried my Audible August one too, which few people did. I saw that and I wanted to join. And with Faulkner in August and Garb August, it's just like you don't have time to do everything.
Yeah, join us, Gareth, this year for Epsilon by Faulkner, and everyone too.
And he says, I do, John. I keep my trash stash safe. My trash is just mixed in with my regular books. Tangible Reads Library is a great resource.
Hell yeah, it is. Yeah, thanks, Courtney. Yeah.
All right.
Courtney and I are
lots of garbage, according to Ollie. I love it, says Tangible. Yeah, I probably do too. Okay. We're done with the comments for the moment, so I'm going to try to squeeze in a couple more books that I really liked.
Yeah, I got some too.
All right. So I read from this collection, If This Be a Man by Primo Levi. He was a chemist, a Jewish chemist who was sent to Auschwitz. And this is his memoir of his time in Auschwitz. And it's just an amazing commentary on what humans can do to other humans that is extremely powerful. And it stands up there, right with Night by Elie Wiesel and a book that's going to be showing up a little bit later in this.
Oh, Mouse.
Yeah, you kind of know that's showing up.
I've read Nazi literature that worst one is Transcript. They call it concrete poetry. I can get it out. It's behind me. But a good read I was surprised about this year is Tattooist of Auschwitz. I didn't know it was a real life story. And in the back, they have real photographs and that. And it's an easy read. Now, I don't know if Stephanie's with us or she left, but I asked her if she wanted to buddy read that. She said, no, I'll skip it. But it's a good, uplifting read. I mean, uplifting is kind of a weird word to say about Nazi literature, but I recommend that book a lot. And Greg, have you read Bolaño's Nazi literature in South America? Is it called?
No, I haven't. That's one of the what I have not read that one yet. I've read a number of his other books, and it's one of the ones I want to get to eventually.
We'll put it on our buddy read list because I want to read that too. I haven't read Savage Detectives yet. I've only read 2666, but I've read that three times. But,
yeah, 2666 I've read twice, and it's a massively good book.
A lot of people hate it, but I spent a lot of time in Phoenix and Tucson too, and across the border is Nogales. There's a Nogales, Arizona, and Nogales, Mexico. Used to be there's a McDonald's there. You could walk across the border. Now you need a blue card or a passport. But if you go beyond that, you get to the Sonora Desert and that, where it all takes place. And I've been out there. So I have a vivid memory of the landscape when I read 2666. And I'd like to read more Roberto Bolaño.
He's good. You'll probably like Savage Detectives. Excuse me. All right.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
You want to
So
go
what's
with
up next for
book?
you?
Well, this isn't a read from 22, but I'm going to be reading this next year, some more Gene Wolfe. And I know you were on the buddy read of this. I couldn't get in on it, but I'm going to read this, and I'm looking forward to that. Gene Wolfe, Gene Wolfe, Gene Wolfe.
Yeah, I read only Shadow of the Torturer this year. I was meaning to read more, but it's just, you know how life just sort of sneaks in the way and you don't get around to it.
Yeah. Well, I plan on reading that next year, so.
So Al was going Occupation Diary was the one I thought is often overlooked about the occupation of the Channel Islands in World War II. I have never heard of that one. If you're still watching, go ahead and put the author in the comments, so that'll help us out. Jessica, you guys have great books to show. This is neat. Thank you, Jessica.
I try to keep up with Greg. Greg's a leader here. I try to keep up.
Grape Jelly Flo. I read The Tattooist for a book club. Good book. I need to pick that up.
Yeah, Greg, you could read it in a day or two, and it's really satisfying. You'd like it.
Camp X is a cool one. They did. Is that by J.G. Ballard? No, his was Camp Concentration. That's a different book. I don't know the author of Camp X.
Has anyone ever read this horrid book?
You've mentioned it, and I've put it on my Amazon wish list to buy someday.
It's a Nazi book, it's a concrete poetry. It's very disturbing. It's really interesting. You would like it because, you like poetry in all its forms. And it's just, I find myself having a hard time describing it. It's atrocious. It's beautiful. It's matter of fact. There's lists of is that a poem or not? I don't know. It's a list of numbers. Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gas chamber. You know, that's why I really mention it. It's so depressing. But it's important to read Nazi literature, I think. Not important, but, you know, it's not that long ago. And then with Trump and let's get political.
Well, you know, oddly enough that you mentioned about that, the next book on my list, I don't have a physical copy, but Beloved by Toni Morrison.
Ah, good one.
It was a reread for me this year, and the reason I reread it is that when I moved from Washington State to Virginia in 2021, we were having an election for governor. And the governor who eventually won, Glenn Youngkin, was very much against this book.
Oh.
Because a student somewhere read that book and was disturbed by it. And he thought students should be able to not have to read books that disturb them.
Yeah, because he was woke.
Because it's woke, and you don't want them to understand that how horribly slaves were treated.
Huh.
And the thing is, it worked. I don't say it's the only thing that got him elected governor, but it helped push him over the edge and engage people who don't like their kids reading certain types of books to vote for him.
Well, I can hear that. Hey, Greg, can we or I take a break for like 30 seconds?
Sure.
So, okay, go ahead and just talk.
Yeah. So I was just saying that when I heard about that and I moved to this state, and of course I didn't vote for him, but I did this February or January last year. I read books that will piss off governors. And I reread that book. And it really is a very good book that most people should read if they have not read it, because it does teach you about humanity and treating people in ways that they deserve to be treated. And it is very disturbing. If you read this book and you're not disturbed, then something is wrong with you.
I have another book.
Okay.
This is Buddy Reed with Jason Harrigan and I. We're going live next month or as soon as he's ready. It's a big book, but you ever read that?
I don't. I have 2 books by him on my shelves. That book and another second of the second book of the trilogy.
Okay. Yeah, I've read quite a few Wilson books, but you're not going to believe this. I have to take another break. Can you talk?
Sure, I can.
This will take me 1 second.
All right. So the next one that I have on my list is another reread. This was my 100th book for my first 100 book challenge. And it is Geek Love by Katherine Dunn. It is the story of a traveling circus or carnival where they sort of specialize in freak shows. And the owner and his wife had trouble getting people with unusual physical characteristics to join their circus, so they decided to make their own children freakish by taking lots of illicit chemicals, and they produced some very unique children with
That
disabilities
sounds
or
like a horrible
deformities.
book.
What?
I'm being facetious, but
But it's a very powerful because at one point their oldest son is essentially what you'd call what they call a seal baby. He has flippers for arms and legs, and he becomes a cult leader,
wow.
and
What
people
book is that?
follow
This
him.
again?
What?
I need to write this down.
And the things that he makes them do as cult followers, you say no way would a person ever do that.
What's the book again?
Geek Love, GeekLov by Catherine Dunn.
Okay, duh me. I've heard of that book. Everybody was reading it a few years ago. I've never read it, but you read that this year?
I read it originally in the 80s when it was a new book. And then I listened to the audiobook a few times. And then I just reread the digital book earlier this year.
Yeah, that's one, to be honest, I can skip that. I can see the book now. It's got a pink cover with letters, but I don't know. You really recommend it? You think I should
I
read that?
really do recommend it. It's
All right.
Jessica's going, it's crazy, but good book.
I like carnies. I like carnivals. I like
And Alan,
Yeah.
you should go to Powell's, and you should try to see if they have an original hardcover of that book.
Oh, okay.
Now, the reason why is that, have you ever read the Knopf Borzi books? You
No.
know those, right?
Knopf
Knopf Borzi books. Hold on for a second. Here we go.
He's talking about Powell's bookstore here in Portland.
Okay.
It's like a
The
train
reason
railroad.
why is, hold on, this is not the book, but if you go down here, this is their icon. This is a Borzi dog running at the bottom.
All right.
What you want to do is try to find the original Geek Love published by Knopf and look at
Okay.
the Borzi dog on the cover.
All right, thanks. I'll
Because
do that.
the
I'll be
dog
down
on the
there
cover
tomorrow.
has
I'll be
extra
down there.
legs.
I'll be down there tomorrow. I can stop off and check it out.
Yeah, it's so subtle because you don't notice it, but like I said, the dog has
And
an
you're
extra
telling
leg.
me this. You're telling me this because it's worth money, right? Some scratch.
Probably, but I don't have it, but it's
How
worth
much
looking to
would
see
you
if
be
they have
willing
it.
to pay? You ever read this?
I have read that one.
I'm halfway through it.
It was a wild book when I read that a number of years ago.
WTF, it's more like about her grandparents in Greece and coming over than it is about her yet. Like I said, I'm only halfway through it. But
Okay, now that you talk about, I do remember.
she's a hermaphrodite, and because her grandparents were brother and sister and got married so they could come over here, it's a strange book. But I remember
Jessica
Greek Love back in
is
the day.
recommending A Child Called It. I saw her video about that book, and I will eventually try to pick up that book. Once I'm off this book buying ban thing.
You're the one who got yourself into it, you and MJ and everybody else.
Yeah, I know.
I could have did the 25 maybe. I have a small library, All my books are in a box in Phoenix.
No, it's not for you.
But it is for people like you who buy a lot of books and don't read them. And I can't wait to get my books back from Phoenix. My dad's gonna, because I'm too cheap to pay for it. It cost me, $200-$300 to mail all my books back because I know I mailed them from Georgia to Phoenix. I paid like $100 for one 80 for another, and sent a guitar back that costs like another 80.
You can rent our U-Haul truck and drive it up.
I haven't had license since 1996, Greg.
Oh, well, okay, well.
My license has been revoked in Arizona. Yeah. I mean, I've driven when I was in Toledo with Molly. I had to drive. I had one of her maintenance trucks and that, but I've driven, but I just haven't had a license.
Okay.
If I did, I'd be broadcasting from the beach right now.
All right. So is it my turn again?
Yeah. Any comments?
Oh yeah, let's catch up on comments.
Everybody probably left by now.
We talked about Flo is going to child because it was a hard read but worth it. Okay, that's another another recommendation from Flo.
Yeah, from Flo, cool.
From a child called It. Okay, we talked about briefly Mouse.
Okay, yeah.
This was a reread for me. I read it 15 years ago, 2004, somewhere around there. But earlier in the year when the Tennessee School Board decided that they were going to ban this book from their libraries, I decided to go buy it and reread it again. And again, like If This Be a Man by Primo Levi, it's important to revisit what went on during this era. And this is a little bit different because it also shows you a little bit of the modern times with an Auschwitz survivor who's very old. And he is hard to like in his older age. He's just...
Now, I found him sympathetic and easy to like. He reminded me of my dad.
He had his issues that made it a little bit difficult.
But I see your point too.
You understood where he was coming from, and you understood, Art saying, "Well, he's my father, and he's an Auschwitz survivor," so he kind of put up with it.
But you understand Art's total frustration as well.
He's absolutely do.
A wife and a life, and but that dichotomy. Art's trying to get information out of the old man, and the old man is trying to get Art to stay with him in that. So it's such a give and take all the time. And no spoilers, but Mouse 2 is yeah.
I kind of put them together, as you read it.
Right.
They're two books, but you read them as one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love graphic novels. There's a few comic book stores in town. I've never been to them, but there's more than a few actually. I like Mad Magazine. I'm going to buy more of them, the books. And I think I'm going to buy some Doonesbury books to remind me of my undergrad years at Kent State in Ohio. I used to read Doonesbury all the time. I mean, the books.
All right. Do you have some more? I have a few more.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
This was an audiobook, so I don't have anything to hold up. I hope it doesn't make anyone really upset who's watching, but it was American Crusade, How the Supreme Court is Weaponizing Religious Freedom by Andrew L. Seidel. And this is about how our 6 Catholic Supreme Court justices are interpreting the Constitution to favor their own religion over other people's religion.
Yeah, that's a hot topic. That was on The View last week. about exactly that. Not only Roe v. Wade, but you know, they just granted like a baker. She didn't want to do a thing for a gay couple.
That was the one, yeah, in Colorado.
Right. She won. She won.
He won, but that's really just sort of the tip of the iceberg of what potentially could be coming down.
Wow. And that's what that book's about?
Pardon?
Huh. That's what that book's about?
Yeah, it does feature that case and other Supreme Court cases.
Well, it must be a brand new book.
It's a 2022 book, yes. Just published earlier this year.
Damn, that's some serious reading, Greg.
It is. It was one of I believe it was the New York Tag where they asked me the most disturbing book that I've read recently. That's the one that I picked because.
Yeah, and thanks for tagging me in that. I'm behind by like 3, I think, but if I'm not known for my buddy reads, I'm known for my tags. I like to do tags, so thanks, Greg.
All right. You got more?
Well, you know,
I'm getting down close to the end of my list.
Yeah, me too. I'd be remiss. We buddy read this in our Vonnegut group as short stories. I need to revisit this too. This gets high praise on like Goodreads and BookTube. His short story collection. Welcome to the Monkey House.
You know, I like some of his short stories, but like all short story collections, there's some short stories that are sort of like just don't do anything for you.
Now, you didn't particularly like Timequake. We read that in our Vonnegut.
We did. I ranked that like with Galapagos. It's not going to be one of Vonnegut's best books.
I like Timequake much, much, much more than Galapagos. I didn't like Galapagos that much. I didn't like the technique. I'll have to reread it, my dotage, but I didn't like his technique of telling what was going to happen. And I mean, I like that, you know, Kilgore Trout's son, which you pointed out first. That was a good point. It made sense. Made me get a grasp on the novel and finish it. But I like Timequake much more than Galapagos.
Okay, another book that I read for June on the Range was the audiobook of True Grit by Charles Portis.
Oh.
And part of the reason I really loved this is the narrator of the audiobook was Donna Tartt.
Yes, you mentioned that.
She wrote The Secret History and The Goldfinch.
Yeah.
And she perfectly, because the book is narrated from the point of view of this girl. She's telling the story of when she was like 14 or 15, but she's telling as an adult, looking back on her life. But Donna Tartt just totally nailed that character. And you could just feel this girl telling the story of going out to seek vengeance for her father.
Well, you know what Shakespeare said about revenge? When you seek revenge, dig 2 graves. But I like Donna Tartt. I've read The Secret History. I tried to group read The Goldfinch, but so, you know, like life got in the way. This is a few years ago when it came out. But so do you recommend The Goldfinch?
I have not read The Goldfinch yet. I've only read the Secret History.
But okay, so we're the same. But so I've read half of The Goldfinch. I know it's about a work of art in that, but I really enjoyed The Secret History a lot. You know, I like academia, and I was an academic in another life. I really was.
All right,
Yeah.
I want to catch up on some comments here. As falling behind, MJ was saying Mouse is so good. Yep, she was part of our group read.
Yeah, MJ.
Gareth Doonesbury, great reference. Yeah, Doonesbury is one of the great classics of American comics. And
Raoul Duke, Hunter S. Thompson.
Doonesbury and Calvin and Hobbes was my jam.
Yeah, man.
I'm a Far Side kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
I love the Far Side.
That's Gary Larson.
Yeah, yes, Gareth. I remember you talking about American Shade on your channel. Sounds fascinating and really important subject. Yeah, it's just more people should be paying attention because it sometimes goes under the table. Yeah, Gareth, it is hard to keep up with tags. Whenever I get tagged now, I put the tag on a list on my phone so I can go back and say, hey, I should do this tag. Jessica, this is my favorite live in MJ today. This was fantastic. Well, thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, thanks. I like doing lives. I like participating in lives.
They're growing on me.
Yeah, I've seen you around, Greg. You were on Ollie's. The thing about MJ's live, I usually lately I get up about 5 in the morning. I don't know why, and then get my day, answer my email, and blah blah blah. But MJ's Saturday for me, it's at 6 a.m. So I kind of have to set my alarm for that. But it's worth it. I've missed MJ's lives the past 2-3 times, unfortunately.
Gareth, ha ha ha. Yeah, I got 17 books for Christmas. So yeah, we both got rewarded for some. I got 0 books this year. Part of it's my fault. I put some books on my Amazon wish list, and my wife asked me, "Are those any books that you're going to read anytime soon?" And I kind of go,
No,
probably not. So she just got me theater tickets instead.
Oh, well, that's very thoughtful.
That is. It's in the long run. I think it's going to be the better gift because I have so many books.
I would have got you another like Pokemon, like a doll that you poke with and it farts. Or I would have got you a Portland State University or a Powell's. Yeah, that'd be a good gift. I'll send you a gift next Christmas. Hopefully by that time you'll have forgotten what I mentioned.
Oh, dang. Say that again, Alan, or tag me in what that's saying, Jessica.
Well, I have to do the New York tag, and I think I was tagged Jeremy Fee. I need to tag. He tagged me in something I need to catch up on. But yeah, I'll tag you, Jessica.
Yeah, I think I tagged her. Did she do the New York tag? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I thought I tagged her in the New York tag.
I remember things from 40 years ago. I have a good memory for that.
Flo is going. I thought you were going to say revenge is a dish best served cold.
Cold.
Well, it is best served cold, but you still may have to dig 2 graves.
Is that Shakespeare? 2, probably?
I do not know who came up with the dish best served cold. Someone can Google that.
You know what's funny, Greg? I mentioned this to Sean. On the bus ride, I take a bus from the train. So I take it every day, twice a day. And tech to one of the telephone poles was skip the light, fantastic. You've heard that, right? Skip the light, fantastic. Well, I thought that was Tennessee Williams, and I Googled it. It's John Milton.
We're coming up with John Milton in February.
Yes, sir.
Jessica, I learned the hard way not to seek revenge. Let the good karma times roll.
Who said that? Oh,
that's Jessica.
All right, that's rad right there. I'm going to quote that.
It's
Hell yeah, I
you're
like that.
probably better forgiving your enemies than trying to seek revenge on them.
Right. But like I said before, Shakespeare, if you seek revenge, dig 2 graves.
Yep, Gareth is saying he loves the Far Side too. You know, I don't know if you remember this Far Side one. It's where in a laundry room, and there is a dog hiding behind the laundry, the dryer, and the dog has written "cat FUD" on an open, and the cat's looking at it, and the dog's going, "Oh please, oh please." And ever since then, I still call my cat's dinner cat food.
That's funnier than hell. You know who I like too? Is Matt Gorning, who's from Portland, Oregon, by the way. But I like his Life in Hell stuff before The Simpsons.
Oh, I love those.
Life in Hell.
Life in Hell, yeah.
Remember that the cubes of growing up. You know, it's all this stuff growing up. Oh, I get burned. I burned my finger. I got drunk. You know, first time laid. It's crazy. I want to show you before I go, Greg, my fingers. Have you ever heard of the White Album? Have you ever heard of the White Album?
Is that a Beatles album?
Yeah.
I've heard of it, yeah. I'm not that familiar with it.
Well, there's a break between songs when John Lennon says, "I've got blisters on my fingers." It's from Guitar.
From Guitar.
Yeah, you get blisters on your. Now I've got like one on here from plucking it. There. Got blister there. Can you see that? From plucking. Cooking a corned beef tonight.
Oh, MJ, I tagged you both for tomorrow. LOL. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, MJ, for.
Said my dad only told me once is to learn. You can't polish turd. He taught me that. And you cannot polish a turd. That is true.
I've never tried, but I'm thinking about getting a dog again. So I might have to get used to turds.
Yeah, MJ. I got tickets to the arena stage in Washington, D.C., but it's in March because he's got to wait for it.
Well, you know, MJ, over in Pennsylvania, they say, "We are," then Penn State. We are Penn State. But in Ohio, we say OH. And then you would go IO, OH, IO. But MJ's, her and her husband are Penn State fans. So is Courtney, by the way. Her and her husband Bill are Penn State fans.
Oh, Gareth, I was going to do a 10 favorite visits to the theater actually one day. I've planned it, but not done it. You know, I would love to do something like that, but when I was single before I got married, I used to subscribe to the Shakespeare Theater in Washington, D.C., and I used to go out all the time. But then once I got married, you know, dragging my wife out to the theater is sometimes a little hard.
Well, do they have any Shakespeare theaters in Virginia?
Well,
they probably do.
Probably, but you'd still want to, drive up to the Shakespeare Theater in DC to see because they were at that time one of the country's best Shakespeare theaters. And I saw some really good.
I don't know about that.
They were very good.
Man, in Arizona, Mesa, Arizona had a good Shakespeare theater. But I'm not saying I doubt you, Greg.
They always build themselves as one of the preeminent Shakespeare theaters. Maybe they were exaggerating, but no, they did very good performances.
Wow. And the closest one
Flo, I
around here is
received
a
no
store.
books, but a lot of book money. Yeah, way to go, Flo. That's the
What'd
way.
she say?
She says, I received no books, but a lot of book money. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Pick out
My
your own
dad
book.
from Phoenix sends me money every year or two. Money's the easiest way to go. I like to send gifts myself.
Jessica, I'm doing the New York tag editing now. It'll be up for tomorrow, Tag Tuesday. Thanks, Greg. You will love it, I hope. And everyone, I'm waiting for it.
Greg, do you know where Astoria, Oregon is?
Yeah, I've been to Astoria.
That's the closest Shakespearean company. Yep.
Yeah. There's a very interesting B&B that used to be like a fishing factory, and the rooms are actually built out over the water.
Wow.
So your room, the balcony, your floor is over the water. It was just fabulous. Yeah,
there's shit on the coast here in Oregon. You can go do crabbing or get your crab legs. Just dump a bucket over. You have to pay for it, of course, but I've been to Seaside. I've been to Astoria, but I've never been to the Shakespeare Company they have there. If I had a car, I would. But I don't need a car because I live in where? Portland.
Gareth is talking about so many classic Far Side cartoons, like when the cows shout car and then go out on all fours. That's another.
When I lived in Phoenix, I was a usher in my best friend's wedding. I was a friend, so I was just an usher. But he got us all mugs, and they were different. And he got me one, a Greg Larson one, that it had no words on it. It just had like a picture of a house, and then on everything it was labeled like tree, door, window, bush, grass. And I go, WT is this, D, what the fuck is this? Goes, because you label everything, Alan. I didn't get it at first.
Medium John Silver. Yeah, I have a few Life in Hell collections. Those must be totally classic. I have not seen Life in Hell in 25 years or more.
You haven't? I have the graphic novel I'm in.
No, this is Life in Hell, not From Hell. This is.
See what I did though? Tried to do.
Yeah, those are the Matt Groening. Gareth, I can't believe you're mentioning Matt Groening books. I mentioned them myself.
Oh, okay,
the library tour on Hall Video I did, but it won't be up for another few weeks.
Yeah, I'm the one who brought that up, Matt Groening. He's from Portland, Oregon, and Life in Hell. That was my jam back. When I lived in Arizona, and went on to Simpsons fame.
Oh my Lord, we've hit the big time, Alan. We have a sex bot.
What?
We have a sex bot in the chat.
What is that?
I feel like we've hit the big time.
I don't even know what that is.
Girls69.xyz, my private photo here. No, I am not going to show that one.
Well, I thought your wife was on to cut that kind of shit out. She was like editing this stuff. You mean this is going out to the world? No. I said that, Greg, because Ali had his son doing maintenance. Remember, when he had that wrench icon?
That was his son.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that wrench thing was. I did not know what it was.
Yeah, when we had to cut you off, yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can block this sex bot.
Man, don't block it.
Yeah, I'm blocking the sex spot.
It's your channel, man.
It is.
See, I can do anything I want because not on my channel. I smoke all I want, whatever.
Okay. I have one last book to share.
All right.
That was an audio book, and it was part of the Book2 Prize judging. And that was Empire of Pain, The Secret History of the Sackler Dynasty by Patrick Radden Keefe. And that was basically about how Oxycontin became such a blight on our country.
Especially in the Midwest, like Ohio and Michigan.
It's heavy everywhere. I mean,
true.
And the people who created it knew exactly what was
wow
going on. You know, they knew that it was much more addictive than they let on. But
so it was for money.
Absolutely. And they got so fabulously rich getting people addicted. It's just,
oh my God, man. You're reading some heavy books, Greg.
I do, but I also read The Rats by James Herbert. So,
and Vonnegut, yeah. So, but you did only bring up Mother Night, which is his most heaviest of books. Great book. Well, have you ever read Matt Wall?
I have not.
He's pretty good. He's got a Bukowski-esque vibe to him, which I like. You know, I like Bukowski, but he's encouraging me to write a bit.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Like I need another hobby.
Yeah. Yep. MJ said you made it when the bots show up.
I guess.
Right.
I'm not into one Marquis de Sade, you know, maybe I'll take your advice and the other guy who mentioned him, Greg, and two, I'm not into sex bots. I don't even know what they are.
Yeah, Jessica's saying I don't see the person. Yeah, Jessica, I blocked the sex bot. Just get that person out of the way.
Greg,
when are you guys reading Player Piano? That's going to be in February.
Good question. Yeah,
I think it's going to be.
Do it.
We're doing a Vonnegut quarterly for 2023.
But this time it's in February.
We moved it to February because it'd be interfering with reading William Gaddis's The Recognitions, and I think that's going to take almost all of my attention.
In March, yeah.
In March.
But I'm reading a Follett book with Jeremy Fay. Don't call me Fee. Jeremy Fee, don't call me Fay. We've become friends. So we're reading the prequel to The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Another writer, great writer, stylist. He's known for his espionage books and thrillers in his early career, you know, Jack Dawes, you know, St. Petersburg is a hilarious book, but then he goes on to fantasy in his later career. So we're reading the sequel to Pillars of the Earth.
I read Pillars of the Earth way long ago. It's like early mid 20s. So anyway, I remember really reading it because it was a long book, like 800 pages, 900 pages. And I was just flying through that book, got home from work, and I said, I just want to read this book. I want to get through this. It was just that good.
First time I read Pillars of the Earth, I was on a bus in Phoenix. And Tom Builder, remember Tom Builder, the head architect and all that? Well, he dies And I went, "Wah!" And everybody looked at me on the bus. And I held up the book. I said, I'm reading the book. They said, oh, okay.
Gareth wants to join us in February for Player Piano. Yes, I will add you to our Voxer group. We're basically done with Galapagos now, so you'll see it as a Galapagos, but we'll switch it over to Player Piano earlier in the year.
Yeah, I think I might have to do that.
Tangible reads, I'm not about the 800-page life. I think the Pillars of the Earth is worth it. It's one of the few books that are 800 pages that you will say that was worth it.
It's a page turner, Courtney. It's a page turner, totally, Courtney. You would like it. Now, I have to get up and, well, hang on a second.
Yeah, Courtney is going, your screen means you were invested in the book. Yeah.
I'm turning Courtney on to this.
Are we still doing that in January?
Yeah, are you reading it too?
I have it on my Kindle.
Okay, well, yeah, me and Courtney are reading it. I'm already into it. I'll tell you no lies, but it's reminiscent of his 7 Killings, A Brief History of 7 Killings, which takes place in Jamaica.
I've read that one.
Too. This is more slavery in Jamaica, the sugar fields, and it's all about the women. I think Courtney's going to like it. I think she's going to end up reading more Marlon James with me. I really like him, man.
Gareth, it's almost 2 a.m., so I better go, guys. Been great chatting with you in the chat group. Big hugs, everyone. Good night, Gareth.
Thanks, Gareth. Hell yeah,
actually,
man.
We've been on here an hour and a half.
We're staying up,
Alan. So we have to start thinking about wrapping it up ourselves.
Yeah. Well, it's been great, Greg.
He's going January 27th will be the live show. Is that for
Yeah, we're going to do Courtney and I. Now, I do everything on my phone, so if you want to join in, Greg, or anyone else, I'm turning everybody on to Marlon James. I'm not saying I turned you on to him, Greg, but yeah, we're doing a live stream next year. I'm liking the live stream, Greg. This is
I am too. So I'm saying is, Alan, we've been on this for an hour and a half, so probably about time to wrap it up. Unless you have any more favorites you want to mention.
And another thing, no, I'm cool. I'm just joking. Hey, thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
Yep. Let's say, Jessica, night, everyone. Stay warm. Yeah, it's cold here.
We're warming up here in Portland. It's finally raining. It's raining all week, but it's getting that ice off.
Pat says good night, everyone. Hi, Pat. Good night. Yeah, it's 27 degrees right now.
I appreciate you, Pat. Pat, yeah, he's Pat and I are buddy reading something. I forgot what, but yeah, thanks, Pat.
Thanks for dropping by. Okay, I'm going to call it a night.
Okay,
and until next week.
We remain.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.